Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode here at the Portcast. Today, we have another special guest with us today, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself and the great organization that he is a part of here in the city of Bridgeport. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, my name is Harry Bell, and I am the executive director of the Color of Positive Thought organization.
All right, Harry, and where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Born and raised in Bridgeport, Connecticut, in Trumbull Gardens, the North End, the Terrace, some people may call it.
Okay, and what were some of the things you were into as a kid growing up here in Trumbull Gardens?
Back when I was growing up in Trumbull Gardens, we had a community room, big as your downstairs living room. And Donald Smith, who I try to mirror today, back then, he did everything in a community room, which as big as your kitchen and living room put together, and he made miracles out that little space. And I just hope that I can, walk in his shoes, and down the line, a kid would say the same thing about me. But we in Trumbull Gardens, like I said, our best gift was Donald Smith and ping pong. I was the ping pong champion back then in '92.
Okay. And as a kid growing up here in Terrace Garden, do you have dreams of what you want to be when you become an adult? What was it that you wanted to be?
It's so crazy. I just wanted to be better than my aunts and uncles. I didn't really dream too much, but I wanted to be better than my aunts and uncles because growing up as a kid, what I saw from them, and I loved them no matter their flaws, was drinking and alcohol. All of them died from overdoses of drugs or, liver, because of drinking. So I knew as a kid that I just wanted to be better than them and live longer than them. And today this is where I'm at.
So it's pretty much you were kind of in survival mode.
Yeah, survivor mode. I wanted more than what was offered to the people who live in these type of communities. And I believe what was offered to us was, negativity, but I wanted positivity.
And that's kind of not normal for a kid at that age thinking about survival mode. That's not a normal thing to think as a kid. Why did you feel that way?
Because of what I grew up around, what I saw, I didn't really see too much, happiness. My happiness is when I used to go in my room and sketch, or again, go see Donald Smith play ping pong in the community room. But once I leave that, the reality hit from that strip of Trumbull Avenue to that apartment house to my grandmother's house where my aunts and uncle in there fighting over the Kool-Aid, and me and my brother, we used to laugh because, our some of our funniest moments is when, our aunts and uncle would come in the house and my brother would do something to make them argue with each other, and we just get a kick out of it, them days was like joyful, but in the reality it wasn't, but it was just our reality.
So your mom and dad not being around, did you feel different from all the other kids growing up here in Trumbull Garden?
Well, it's a crazy thing because, feeling different outside of Trumbull Garden is normal, but feeling different inside your own home is a little more crazy. Like, my mom, who's actually my aunt, never made me feel a certain way or different from her biological kids. It was a mental thing, I believe, because, my older sister and older brother, they had good hair. I had rough hair, that because, different fathers and stuff like that, and my birth mom was still around, but it wasn't brought to my attention who she was in the beginning, but I thought she was like my aunt at first because she's always in the house and things like that, but she would pay close attention to me. And I'm like, why is this lady paying so much attention to me? Why is she like, every time she see me, she hugging me tight, kissing on me, I was like, something ain't right. Something like I felt it, and little did I know, that was just her, being a mother or trying to be a mother through her mistakes that she couldn't have.
So how old were you when you found out that this woman who you thought was your aunt was actually your birth mom?
I think probably when I was like 10, 9. It was always, it was projects, talks in the projects. But as a little kid, like, you know what I mean? You don't really hear it, but it was talks out there because you hear little stuff. And when you get older, you start reminiscing on certain things and it takes you back to certain childhood memories. But, I remember one time how I really found out is that one day it was cold, and my birth mom and my real mom, my birth mom and my aunt, who I called mom, had an argument, and my birth mom like grabbed me and took me out the house. It was cold out there. I'd rather really dress properly, and I heard her say, that's my son. That ain't your son. That's my son. And as a little boy, your mind start taking you places, and you start reminiscing on like that. That's probably why I was feeling the way I was feeling.
Now, usually when you're brought up in a neighborhood with no parents in your life, it's a little more difficult than the other kids. Sometimes, some things you may not have, like a nice haircut. Your clothes might be hand-me-down from your older brother, your older cousin. Your sneakers old and beat up, and you may not have money to go to the ice cream truck. You go without these things that your friends may have. Did you ever get teased for not having these things?
You know what? My older brother, Ace, man, he was a hustler, man. That guy was a hustler at 12. So, and he had his father around, and his father was a good guy because, he made sure on Christmas that he gave, the other siblings stuff, but, he took care of his, you know what I mean? He took care of his responsibilities, but he also took care of everybody else. So my older brother always had a lot, like, because he was a hustler and his father, thing like that. So he made sure that I didn't really have the need for so much. Like, you know what I mean? From wearing his sneakers to wearing his clothes, he made sure that, I didn't really have to go in the streets and things to that nature. And back then, the Tears was a different community back then. You had the drug dealers who seen potential in the young dudes coming up. And sometimes, they will see that potential and try to do things for you because you didn't have it, but they see potential in you because they feel like you don't have to be this way, you're different. And I was one of them young dudes that a lot of the drug dealers thought different than me. And they always took care of me. So they see me on the strip, go get a sandwich, H.
So as a kid, you went through a few things that perhaps were traumatic in your life and your upbringing. And it seemed like some of those things came about because of your mom and your dad not being around. Did you have any resentment for them or towards them because of these things that you went without, or the things that happened to you in your life that wouldn't normally happen to a kid?
That's why I tell the youth that I work with today to cherish your parents. I remember when I got the news, that it came to light that Liz Bell is your mother, and Liz Bell was out there. She was on drugs heavy, and kids was teasing me, yo, look at your mom and stuff like that. Look at your mom out there doing that. Look, so I used to try to run from her and stuff like that. I literally try to run from her, and it's crazy because she'd spot me from miles away, and and sometimes I'll spot her from miles away and try to hide before she try to come up to me and show me affection because I was embarrassed. and remind you, I never lived with her, anything like that. But when she died, I passed out in the funeral. I remember my buddy Rondell was behind me, and I fell and he caught me. And only thing that I can remember of why I was feeling that way is because even to today, I remember just as much as a week ago, it still hit my head like I never really told her that I loved her. I never really showed her that I cared. Only time that I was happy with her is when the 1st or the 16th, when she got her food stamps or her state money, and she'd try to bless me before she go get high. But I never really got a chance to tell her that I loved her. And that shit hurt me to this day, But regarding my dad is in a nursing home right now, and I've been like his primary caretaker for the last 10 years or more. And we had that conversation, like, why weren't he there? Why wasn't he there? And I think every guy who didn't grow up with a father and then built a relationship with their father later on, that conversation is gonna go. And he told me, at the end of the day, I had to forgive, let go so I can grow.
Now, your parents fell victim to the many pitfalls we have in our community. Did you yourself ever find yourself on that same path?
Yeah, I was an alcoholic. I was an alcoholic for years. I'm 41 now. So I believe from like 15 to like 20 something, I was drinking. I've been clean for almost 20 years now, I believe. But, I was an alcoholic, and I think I was trying to, hide the pain and hurt and trauma with liquor, but that only lasted until I got sober, and then I had to drink another one and realize I had a problem.
And so sometimes that's how this thing become a addiction, because you're trying to mask, or you're not trying to face certain things in your life. So you're like, hey, let me do this so I won't think about this. And then all of a sudden you start dependent on that every single day. And before you know it, you're addicted to it. So for you, how did you come up out of that situation?
I remember like it was yesterday. I was with my son, son Samaj, and I was with my son Samaj, and I was drunk as hell. I was drunk, and we was on our way home. He probably was like 5 or something, and I fell, and I blacked out, and I woke up with a bloody little hand saying, "Daddy, get up." I guess on my way home, I was walking up some stairs and fell, and I was knocked out and bloody. And that, I remember like yesterday, I just seen a small hand covered in blood and a voice, "Daddy, get up, Daddy, get up." And that day, I vowed to give it up and live for him.
So essentially, it was your little child who changed your life around.
Wanting to be a better father.
Because you didn't have that in your life. Now, you mentioned you were raised by your aunt. What type of lady is your aunt?
Oh man, she one of the strongest women in the world. She had her shares of up and down, but she took on a lot and beat a lot. And she's still living, still fighting, and still could tell her story. And I love her to death.
Is there one valuable lesson you learned from your aunt that you still use to this day?
You don't have to birth someone. for them to mean the word to you. And I think that's why I'm so embedded into the youth. Just because I didn't have them, it doesn't mean I love them any less than my son that I made with his mother.
Looking back to how you grew up in your family dynamics and the things that you went through as a kid, would you change anything of how you came up as a kid?
Nah, because if it changed, I don't think I would be the same. I think I made it to where I'm at because of my hardships. I think I went hard because of what I didn't have. I think I embedded into the youth because I felt like there wasn't so many people embedded in me.
Okay, so let's talk about your organization that you give back to these youth. For those who may not know, you're the founder and executive director of a nonprofit organization. Can you let everyone know the name of that organization and what is the mission goal of your organization?
Yes, the Color of Positive Thought organization, which I founded over 20 years ago. You know, it started on a patio with 5 kids, my son and 4 of his friends. And today we service hundreds or thousands of youth across the city. The goal of Color of Positive Thought is letting youth understand no matter how hard their situation is, no matter how negative their situation is, with the push of Color of Positive Thought, we will help you find positive in that negative situation.
And you're a living testimony to that.
Yes, I am.
And you mentioned that you started this program with 5 or 6 kids on your patio here in Trumbull Garden. What was that like?
It was crazy. You know, it was crazy. Because I didn't have no funding. I had nothing. I just had, an idea. And I had a patio. And I had, one thing I could say, the neighborhood really invested in Color of Positive Thought. The community, I remember doing events and, everybody in the community would have chipped in, from buying a box of, the lady in apartment A bought a box of chips. The lady in apartment D brought cases of water. And it just grew. It just grew. It literally broke my pockets because I went in all my savings. But I believed in it. When you believe in something, in the beginning, it normally doesn't work out the way it works out in the end. But you got to keep striving. And that's what I did. And now today, we are one of the strongest organizations probably in Connecticut regarding youth.
At any point in time during the early stages of being on that patio with 5 or 6 kids, did you ever thought about giving up?
Yeah, it's crazy. I thought many times of giving up. But like I said, back then too, community was different. I had a neighbor by the name of Chelsea King. And I swear to you, I used to work night shifts, get off in the morning. Somehow, whenever I felt like I was giving up, I could be coming home and she'd be in her window and be like, "Don't give up." And I'll go right to her little kitchen window, sit under it, and she'd just be encouraging me, And it's people like that keep you going. That's why I wrote a quote in my coloring book: "On your way to the top, never forget your stops." And your stops could be the maintenance person that encourage you before you get to the top. One of my stops was my neighbor. As she's doing the dishes, I'm outside of her kitchen window and she's encouraging me at the right time.
Okay, so we can't forget about what you mentioned about your coloring book. So let's talk about one of the things that played a huge part of CAP and also bears the same name of this organization, and that's the coloring book. Where did that concept come about?
Like I said, back when I was younger, I wanted to escape how I felt outside and how I felt in the house, because prior, like we talked about earlier, I always felt different. And to make me feel same or sane, I would sketch and write little quotes to go with the sketches. And that's how I created Color of Positive Thought. But I reborn it with my son because it started off with a book for him.
Oh, okay. And why do you think that this coloring book would resonate and connect with the community?
I didn't think about that at first. It was a gift for my son. And he brought it to school, and the teacher was like, "Where did you get this book?" He's like, "My dad made this for me." And the teacher's like, "Nah, this is Scholastic." And she called me and she said, I thought my son was in trouble. She like, "No, can you come up here and bring coloring books and explain each page?" And then after I did that, a couple days later, I think Frank Recchi or somebody was at my house.
So I've been around for the past year and a half, and I see that the relationships that you have with the community, the kids, the parents, and local government. Why is it that Harry Bell has a great rapport with the community outside of the great programs that you offer here at CAP?
I believe Color of Positive Thought blossom within the organization community, because when you see Color of Positive Thought, the executive head, you see a person that come with flaws, a person that might not speak very well. You see a person connected, boots to the ground, tied up in the communities. And you see a person that just really want to grow, that want to learn. And I believe that shows integrity, that shows humbleness, and that just shows in other individuals that, it's not about him being ahead or sitting at the head of the table. It's about him really want to make a difference. And I think when people see that you really want to make a difference and you're doing it and you're doing it with integrity, I think that's like bees to honey.
So you said you don't fit that traditional mold of what a executive director may look like or talk like, but you're a kid who came from the project, mom and dad not around, once a troubled youth, you made it to the White House. Talk about that.
Well, the White House experience was amazing. Coming from where we come from, like, you never think you'll be in the White House. So White House wasn't really on my bucket list. When God has a plan over you, He will open up doors and push out chairs for you to sit at tables that you would have never believed and thought of.
In retrospect, coming from an environment where the odds were stacked against you, family dynamics wasn't the best, being a once misguided youth to gathering 5 or 6 kids on a small patio here in Trumbull Gardens, to writing a kid's coloring book, and to serving thousands of kids throughout the year here in the city of Bridgeport. What would the older Harry say to the younger Harry who was once a youth at risk?
You did it.
And what's the gratification you get out of this?
Seeing young people grow, seeing young people inspired, seeing young people want more. Seeing them same kids that was in the same predicament I was as a kid, seeing me and looking at me as a little piece of hope.
Now, as this year is coming to an end, what can people expect or look forward to from CAP in 2026?
Bigger, better, and effective.
And how can people get their kids from the community involved in CAP?
Hit me up. I'm like very accessible. And that's, I think, the unique thing about me. You could catch me at your local store, your local bodega. You can hit me on Facebook and I'll respond. I'm not hard to find. I'm very approachable. And I think that what singles me out as an executive director. I'm like your guy next door.
All right, Mr. Harry Bell, I'd like to thank you for taking time out your busy schedule to allow me to come here to your facility and do this interview. I really appreciate all the great things that you're doing here in the community, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Anytime.